A little bit of both. I think, defensively, if you look at the 4 games we lost, Utah, Lakers, Memphis, Denver, last 5 minutes we've been up, and so in those last 5 minutes, we're giving up 1.40 points per possession, down the stretch of games. And so that's when we got to be better defensively, even if you're scoring or not. Defensively, you got to be good. You got to lock in. Can't give up offensive rebounds. Can't give up straight line drives. Things like that. We got to be better with. And so, offensively, I think we're doing a good job of getting to our spots. For the most part, I don't watch the last 5 minutes of these 4 games like 10 times, and we're doing some good things. And we're not making shots, down the stretch. And so we got to be better with that. But when you're not making shots, you gotta be really good defensively. So you can't have breakdowns last 5 minutes of games.
Yeah, but I guess you should make 25% in those last 5
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
Is that quality of shots are not what you want, or just the open shots? To a high degree?
A little bit of both. I think Kawhi and PG, they make tough shots. They take mid-range twos that usually are contested that they make, and so they're getting to their spots. And so we just got to be able to make them. Just finish those shots and finish those plays. Or not trying to get to the basket or get to the free throw line to kind of stop the bleed. And so we haven't been able to do that, like you said, those last 5 minutes. And so just looking at shot quality, looking at defensively, how we can get better, and we can definitely get better, in both aspects of that.
Just to kind of piggyback off that, we were looking at some of the clutch numbers yesterday. Obviously, those games are not lost in the final 5 minutes, but the rim rate, the percentage of shots you guys get throughout, you got 6 in the season in the final in those clutch situations.
Yeah.
2 came last game. Like, why does it sort of just change where you guys aren't attacking the paint as much, or not just driving in for those kind of looks inside as opposed to just jumpers?
A lot of it is our guys are mid-range shooters with PG and Kawhi, and Kawhi very rarely attacks the basket, and so at the end of games, maybe we got to change our mindset of just, trying to get there, but the spacing. And then a lot of times they're not going to let Kawhi play, down the stretch, the last 4 or 5 minutes of games. And that's been, kind of tough for us. So when he does get to a spot, teams are double teaming, and now you end up shooting threes or taking, threes or whatever. And so we're comfortable. We know where we want him to catch the ball. We know we want to get his shots from. And so teams are doing a good job. Like, last game against Denver, they let James and PG play pick and roll with Joker in a drop, but they blitzed Kawhi every pick and roll with Kawhi. When he got to his post ups, they came on the second bounce a lot to take him out of rhythm. So we just got to make sure we're in our spots. Like I said, and just making sure we continue to get our guys the ball in the right spots, which we're doing. And so we just got to make sure we capitalize on how the defense is playing us.
You said Kawhi's 1 for 6 in the last 2 fourth quarters. Do you feel like I got to get him more shots to get him in a better rhythm?
Yeah, I definitely do. And, he's coming in probably around the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, so it's not the whole fourth quarter like PG's in. But, the last game against Denver, PG was in a good rhythm and a good flow, so we kind of went through him a lot more. But I do definitely got to get, Kawhi more shots in that fourth quarter to make sure he has a rhythm. So we go down the stretch, he's in a pretty good rhythm.
Josh and X got brought up yesterday. What are your
Who?
Josh and Xavier Moon.
Oh.
What are your expectations for those 2 players?
No, I just think, opportunity, when it presents itself, they'll be ready. I think Josh has been great all camp. X has been good for us the last 3 years, and so they know the system. Like I said, Paul Hewitt does a great job of just making sure he's running the same things we're running up here on this level. And so when they get up here and get a chance to play, they play well. And so Josh has been great. X has been great. And so when they get the opportunity, they'll be ready.
Just to piggyback, because Brandon he's obviously been out for a few weeks now. What's the progress with him, and when can we expect to see him back in practice and back in games?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we met the medical today. They say he's making good progress, but not sure when he's going to be back on the practice floor yet.
With you wanting to split up Russ and James as much as possible, how do you make those calls at the end of games when one of them closes over the other? Or do you see potential opportunities for them to close together? It's what kind of goes into that decision at the end?
Yeah, it's just, just the communication, and then whoever's playing well, if the team is playing well, you just kind of fill it out and kind of see, who's playing well and how the game is going.
At some point, do the players seem to be a little bit more selfish and less sacrificing?
Yeah, when you got open shots, we've been seeing it's been a trend with our team. Like we've been having open shots from our good shooters that we're turning down shots. And when you generate open looks for your best players, your best shooters, you got to take those shots. And so we've been turning down a lot of those, which we got to get better with. But also just understanding when it plays for you to make the play, like just make the play and don't defer. And but like I said, I've seen some good things. Like just watching the Denver game, got down early just to fight back, and the way we came back, took the lead, went up 7 with 6 minutes to go, and then give up a 2-on-1 dunk after a made basket, which is unacceptable. And like those are the things we got to clean up, and just those miscues and get better with that.
Do you feel that the spacing in the starting lineup has been like a work in progress, trying to figure out where guys need to be to at least maximize the spacing for James and pick and rolls or Kawhi off the ball, stuff like that?
Yeah, we have. We talked about it. And it's a lot different from what we did in training camp. We were more slot cuts, getting guys out of the way for PG and Kawhi to get to their spots and raise up for their shot. And now with James here, the numbers say we should stay spaced. When he's running pick and rolls, he's like 1.5, and then when guys are cutting or slot cutting, it's like 0.9. So just changing our mindset when PG and Kawhi have the ball, when James has the ball, it's kind of been a little process for us. And so we're gonna get better at it. Like I said, we've been working with it, we've been working at it, and so it's gonna be fun.
So does that tell you that the way you tried to play in training camp is still compatible with this group, or does it say you're gonna trash that mindset and just go toward that?
No, we can't trash it. Like I said, it's gotta be more reads now. Like we gotta understand when James has the ball, we want to stay spaced. When Kawhi and PG had the ball, we want to clear that slot to make sure they can get off and get to their spots. And so, like I said, it's been a process, and guys are getting a little confused at times, but we just gotta keep working with it, and we'll get better at it.
Remember last year?
He was one of those small in the space the floor with James. Obviously, with Zoo out there, you have that pick and roll opportunity with James, and he's obviously not a shooter there. But I'm curious that James and Russ pairing specifically, like Russ is oftentimes the dunker spotter in the little block area.
Yeah. That
kind of just kills some of the spacing. I think against Memphis doesn't play well. Like PG drove into Russ and his guy and kicked out to PJ. But like, how do you navigate the spacing while having Russ and James out there? Because it looks like they're kind of each other's way.
And that's what was different. That's what I'm saying. Like the process of with Russ, with PG and Kawhi, he's always on the baseline because they get into their mid-range shot. Where James get more downhill and looking for the roller, can make the passes, and so we want Russ to be spaced out. Like he's shooting 50% from the left corner, and he's shooting 41 from the corners overall. So just get to a spot, get to the corner, just get the spacing. If you don't have shot, get into the next action.
Would you rather live with him in the corner taking those threes as opposed to like the low block dunker spot area?
Yeah, I think I would rather him in the corner. Yeah, getting the shot or getting to the next action because there's not a lot of space and not a lot of room. Because James is getting downhill or the rollers, he's finding the roller on the pass, and so that's just some things we got to clean up and continue to keep getting better with.
How do you evaluate what a productive practice can be? Because it feels like that's hard to do on the road. It's hard to do like with the schedule that you've had the last couple of weeks. You got 4 out of 5 days off around the Houston game. Like, how do you evaluate like this is the time where we can actually get guys on the same page?
Yeah, I think being able to do some things live, I think being able to clean some things up that you've been struggling with offensively and defensively, I think it's good. Especially, like I said, acquiring James and PJ, who have come from different systems, I think is really good. And so just having this practice time to continue to keep building, continue to keep getting familiar with one another, I think is really good for us.
What have you made of the small ball lineups with Norm in particular? I think you guys are like at 125 offensive rating in those.
Yeah, but we can't get stops.
I'm aware. I want to ask you, like, what have you made?
I mean, it's a fine line. It's kind of like the floor of the game. And, when Mace went down, it put us in a tough situation, having to play small and having to play PG at the 5 where he really doesn't know the 4 yet because he just got here. And so it puts you in a tough, position. But, last game against Denver, being up 7 with 6 minutes and we got that lead by playing small, it's kind of like a fine line. So you wanted to try to go offense, defense, with Norm and PJ or Norm and Zoo. But only time the game was stopped is when Joker was going to the free throw line. So we was going back on offense, and so it was a tough situation, and so, we're missing Mace a little bit, so we just got to make up for that.
Is there just a way to mitigate kind of the weaknesses in that small ball group? Because it is so small now compared to past years. Is there a way to limit the weaknesses of rebounding or things of that nature?
I don't think we're going to grow, but we can continue to just hit first. Like I said, a lot of teams are crashing guards now, not, it's not just the bigs these days. And so now you got to turn and check for everybody. And so usually when you go in to crack back, so say Kawhi's guarding Jokic and PG goes to crack back and help on Jokic, now you got KCP flying in for a rebound, and so it's just tricky, and so just being able to hit bodies and, hopefully, come up with those rebounds is going to be huge for us.
Thank you.